Hey everybody, are doing some post-festival interviews with some of our winners for the 2024 Fantasy Film Festival. And here we have Sean, what's your last name?
Avion.
Sean Eifion. And that's Welsh, you said?
Yes, yeah.
You're in Wales right now?
Yeah, yeah, I'm in Wales. I'm in North Wales at the moment. I'm
Oh,
based in Cardiff.
Cardiff. Home of Doctor Who and Torchwood.
Yes, yeah.
And The Prisoner from the 60s, right?
Oh, really? I wouldn't know. That's before my time, unfortunately.
Maybe it was the 70s. There was a show called The Prisoner set in Wales. I think it was Cardiff. Anyway, we're getting off track because we're going to talk about your film, The Theory of Tomorrow. You won a couple different awards in our festival, including Best Film overall. So congratulations. I
Thank
think
you very
Best
much.
Sci-Fi and Best Actor as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just fantastic film. So, I don't want to give too much away, but what do you want to tell people about your film?
So our film is, a sci-fi film, primarily, but also, it has a sort of thriller aspect to it with a deeper meaning and a bit of a sort of a message behind it. We wanted to do something that was um, using practical effects more than anything to see if we can do something like really old school, some old camera tricks and stuff like that. And we wanted to concentrate more on the story than anything else, really.
Mhm.
And yeah, and that's what we set out to achieve. And we wanted the story was very important to us, and the script. And
Well, you did achieve it because I think you also won Best Writing, if I'm not mistaken.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Which it meant a lot to me to achieve that, to receive that award. It was a nice nod to all the hard work that me and my brother put into developing this project. Yeah,
Well, it really goes to show you that, yes, sci-fi films don't need spaceships and laser fights and stuff like that. You can write a good sci-fi film with, as you said, very down-to-earth practical effects, but it
yeah.
can deal with things that are otherworldly. It doesn't have to be otherworldly in itself. So,
No, I think it's all to do with a compelling story, and we sort of took a lot of inspiration from a story that sort of worked, throughout decades. In Frankenstein is kind of like probably one of my main sort of inspiration for this in terms of like someone working on something um, futuristic and that might change the world,
mhm.
and if the results of that, or, which is kind of it was looking at what if Frankenstein was living today, what would be the moral issue? What would be the it wouldn't be so much trying to extend one's life or bring someone back from the dead, because we kind of are already doing that, with medicine these days anyway. So what would be the moral issue of today? And we settled on wasting time. So and that's what it's all about, really, is
Well,
time
you
wasting.
had some great setups in the dialogue too, things you allude to that happen in the end, so it comes full
Mm,
circle. It's a very well crafted script.
thank
And you
you.
pull it off, even though with, as you said, just kind of really down to earth 80s era, because it takes place in 89, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, with the practical effects and a good story, you can deliver a fantastic film like yours.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was we were as we were creating the story, my brother, he works in the art department, and he designed the project, and we worked together. We decided to make this film together. We shared ideas, and from the beginning we were very much like, what can we do? We were talking through it together. The sort of the design of the time machine, the design of the look, the even like if we're going to write in a cool thing to happen, we were planning how we were going to make it happen as we were writing it, and that was a sort of that's a kind of reason how we achieved that. I think is by planning as we were writing. If that makes sense.
That no, that's a very good tidbit for filmmakers to, they say write what you know, but also write
Mm.
what you have access to. Don't make a hospital OR scene if you don't have access to a hospital OR, because if you try to put it together in your living room, it's going to look like crap. It's going to pull people out of the film. So you were
Yeah,
smart in writing something that you had all the necessary ingredients for.
yeah, yeah. Well, that took a lot of learning because I've been writing for a few years, and a lot of the things that I tend to let my imagination run wild with me, which is good, and I tend to trying to write what I know, like you said. But then there's sometimes I have to put the script back in the drawer and go, that's one for the future because right now I need to get the funding for that, and I need to get the funding, you need the track record,
Right.
and so for this was a learning experience. So it came off actually off the back of working hard to get funding for a short film, really working really hard to get the funding, and then not getting the funding, and then unable to make the short film because we didn't have the funding. So we were kind of went right. Let's just do something that we know we can do. That we can do. We don't need too much money. We can put in what we can, and let's just make something. And that's kind of the seed that grew into what is the Theory of Tomorrow, really.
But I would imagine that probably the hardest part of all your props and everything is getting 80s era telephones.
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, I'm lucky in terms of my brother there. He knows he kind of works in that part of the industry anyway. So he's normally standby props on set. So he kind of knows where to find those things. And he knew these like vintage shops and things and where to find them. Yeah.
Well, it came off to perfect effect. I mean, the film is engrossing from start to finish, and that ending just sort of gets you like, oh wow, that's I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want
Um,
to give anything away, but yeah, if
no.
highly encourage anybody who's a fan of going to film festivals to check this out if you see it listed. How much longer are you going to put this on YouTube after your festival run?
Yeah, we don't know exactly which platform it'll be on, or we might try and give it to one of those distributing channels on YouTube or Vimeo or something like that. Try and we'll work that out. We've got a few months, definitely to the end of the year. We're still waiting to hear back from a few festivals. It might even go over into 2025 if we're lucky and have success with some of the ones that we're still waiting to hear back from. But we've mostly stopped submitting now. We felt like we've done what we can with it now, and then so hopefully by the end of the year, start of next year, that will be you'll be able to see it on YouTube or Vimeo or both. We'll see.
Well, that's yeah. Keep for anybody watching this, keep your eye open for The Theory of Tomorrow because it's a great film. I think even your lead actor got best acting. And
Yeah,
Yvonne, is that his name?
it's Iwan Charles. His name
Yvonne.
is.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I definitely mispronounced that in the award.
No worries. Um, well, yeah, yeah, he was great. He's an experienced actor here in North Wales. He's a kind of a household North Walian actor name, and we were very lucky that he agreed to come on board and join us on the project. We kind of it was with Frank's character, there was no sort of specific quality about him other than how he carried himself with experience and sort of a determination and an obsession. That could be anyone, really. So we were kind of like, oh, which way do we go with this? And we just went for him. Yeah, we just asked him, and he said yes, and it was great, and he delivered. And what was great, what was important to us about Frank was that we don't hear that voice in that kind of role normally. We associate the sci-fi genre almost with an American accent to begin with, or a, you know, even if it's from the UK, it'd be an RP English accent. And we were kind of like, oh, this is a film made in Wales. Let's center it around a Welsh person, and then it became important to us then to find someone from a more global, somewhere else across internet, like an international, because science is an international kind of field.
Mhm.
So that's when we cast Raj. Then was like we had this guy from North Wales and this guy from Canada, with an American accent, and it kind of like gave that kind of international sort of global feel to it,
Mhm.
um, but still keeping it rooted in the Welshness.
But the other character was Miles, right?
Michaels, yeah,
Michaels.
Michaels.
Oh, Michaels.
Yeah, yeah.
Was so you said he's a Canadian actor, but does he live in Wales, or did you have a?
No, so he went to drama school with me. We both went to Lambda together, and he's British. He's British Canadian, so he's got a British passport and a Canadian passport. And I think he's British Canadian and Indian as well. I think so. He's like kind of like from all over the place. And he went to drama school with me. He's a filmmaker himself as well, and yeah, I just when I was writing the character, I could just see him play that character, and he was able to come along and join us on the ride as well, which is great.
But you shot with him there in Wales.
Yes, yeah, he came to visit us in Cardiff. He's based in London, and he's back and forth between London and Canada. And we shot that one. So we shot the stuff with Frank in the workshop. We filmed that in an old barn outside our family home in North Wales on Anglesey. Um, and then a couple of months later, we were back in Cardiff, so that's like 200 miles down the road
Oh, okay.
from where I'm from. We shot the bedroom scene with Michael's on the phone. We shot that in our living room
Hmm.
of the house we were renting at the time, and we basically turned our living room into a like an 80s kind of bedroom. And yeah, so we couldn't, because of availability of the actors, we couldn't have them together in the same room, or in the same. We couldn't film them in the same week or anything. We had to split them up over 2 different months. So yeah, but it was 3 days for filming altogether, two with Frank and one with Raj playing Michaels.
But this is a great example of, taking advantage of what you have available, a barn, props, living room, turning it into a bedroom, working with actors at different times. As long as the writing is good, it can all come together. And I think I even mentioned that on the awards that to me, the most important part of a film is the writing. You can forgive other little things, but even
Yeah.
if other little things are all fantastic. If the
Mm.
writing's bad, it's all crap.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's interesting because the writing is all, I think, about preparation and creating the world before you put pen to paper or start typing away, or whatever you want to say. It's all about there's a lot more behind in our script than there is actually on the page, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, we had to research, why is he working on this? Like, what's the history of that? How did he get here? Like, we don't want to put that in a film because that's like just boring exposition and stuff. But if we then can then believe it, and then if anyone tries to poke any holes in it, we go, no, we actually thought about that, and we just didn't want to waste people's time sharing that information. So we created this whole thing. So we could have, written something much longer. And I think the original draft was much, maybe 5-10 pages longer than what we ended up shooting. And then after we shot it, then there was other stuff that we'd throw away. Even on set when we were there on the day. I was kind of lucky that I was writer and director, so I could see in the moment, and I didn't have to check with anyone. I could just go, okay, that line can go. And the actor, if they come up to me and said, I don't think this line works, I think I listened to that and I go, okay, yeah, I see what you mean.
Mhm.
And if that sounds better the way you say it like that, let's go for that then instead. Because like it's all about, being collaborative and listening to
Of course.
the feedback you're getting. And then in the editing room, the editor goes, I think that's a bit on the nose, or
Mhm.
and listen to the editor as well. And that's so yeah, that I think the writing side for me as a writer director on this project, it kind of went not just, it started before writing and then it went all the way through to like the last edit.
Oh, no,
So
I myself write, direct, and edit, so I know what you mean. I tell people directing is the second half of writing and editing is the second half of directing. They
yeah, yeah,
but you've also touched upon something that it takes new filmmakers a while to learn is that and even though everybody always tells them that sometimes it takes them a while to figure it out, shorter is better.
yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah. Um, a friend of mine who helps me with writing every now and again, reads some stuff that I do. He told me like in every play there's a shorter, better play. Yeah. So and that's kind of yeah. Sometimes it's hard to hear as well, and you think that they need to hear that or they need to see that, and
Well,
do they? Yeah,
your film perfectly kind of is an example of something that I've mentioned before at panels and so forth, that a short film should be just the end of a feature. And in this
yeah,
case, in your case, we didn't need to know how Frank and Michael's met and how they teamed up together and tried some experiments, and one of them got divorced and then the other one moved away.
yeah,
We don't need to know any of that. We're just at the
yeah.
end of that feature film, and you give a few things via dialogue that are setups for the very ending part, and it all
Mhm,
comes together beautifully. And that's all you need.
mhm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's yeah. We knew right from the get where we wanted to start and end, and yeah, I guess yeah, that's kind of where we start, I guess, would be normally maybe. I mean, for me, I structured it, even though it's so short, it was still kind of like a 5 act structure,
Mhm.
of the story. And but then really, if you look at the whole thing, you're probably coming in at like the end of Act 3, Act 4 of a normal sort of story.
Mhm.
Because yeah, he's already landed himself in this situation of closed himself off from the world and building this time machine in his sort of garage. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where we meet him. It's towards the end, but I think yeah, it's all about that setup, about how that beginning links to the end, and it's that that's all it is really.
There's enough dialogue so that at the end you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
well done all around. You've got this one in the can, it's out at festivals. You got anything else that you're working on?
Yeah, so at the minute I'm filming because I work mostly as an actor as well. So then I'm at the moment filming a Welsh TV series for S4C called Starred. It's a second series, so I've got 3 weeks left of filming on that. So that's where all my energy is now, and then hopefully me and my brother are thinking about filming something else in around the end of August, September, which we're thinking is going to be like very short, like maybe 1 or 2 minutes, something that we can do very quickly. Maybe no audio, keep it really simple, try to make it, look a bit fashionable. Something completely different to the Theatre of Tomorrow, and still continuing to apply for funding for maybe a bit more complex, expensive projects as well. So we'll
Well,
see. We'll see how that works out.
now you need to make a prequel to the Theory of Tomorrow called The Theory of Yesterday.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah,
But congrats on all the awards. It's a fantastic film. I highly encourage anybody who can see it to do so and to keep track of you. And maybe I'll put up your socials here on the screen or something, and people
yeah,
can
yeah,
follow you. And
yeah.
it's great
Please
being able
do.
to talk to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all the awards, and it means a lot. Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Okay, bye.
Bye.